Could go towards something like the Wukong if you wanted to, but the Senna Tahm Kench are now available for Viper Meiko if they want to go back towards that. Or if you're... But to be honest, like, I wasn't overly impressed with Hacker on the Wukong. I think he jumped the gun a lot. So I think you take the Senna, you give the Hacker the Wukong, and then you can look to try and play for... Or even take the Renata, honestly, here. I didn't even cop that Renata was open. So maybe you just first pick Renata and have your pick of the litter about what you want to put with her.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, though, that EDG have been sticking to a formula, and they're going to stay to it. So they're going to lock in the Senna right now, see what Ultra Prime want to go for. They might go for the Renata themselves. Like I said, we're going to be very...
Wukong would be so strong.
Absolutely, I was just about to say, and if you can get that comboed up with something like an Aphelios as well, a lot of power in that bottom half of the map, especially around those dragon fights. But I will say, for the side of Ultra Prime, they haven't committed to it just yet, so they might just try and lock in their AD carry and then maybe get their jungle pick as well.
Yeah, Oh, so I thought we'd get the Renata Wukong. I was about to say the only reason I'd be worried about that is if you're thinking Scout might pick Arya next rotation and then you don't actually get to take a jungler here for Hacker on this rotation, but sorry, to match. But going for the Swain straight off the board, now going back towards the Aphelios. Now, I know Senna doesn't really pair well with the Renata, so I'd be surprised to see the Renata come through. But, I mean, if you kind of end up in a similar position here where you can't really take the Ahri here as Scout because you're going up against the Swain, and Ahri doesn't do particularly well against that. But I'm curious to see if they what they have as an answer here into the Swain, because I feel like you take your jungle your support and your mid laner here for EDG, and then try and figure out what the plan is then from there on.
Yeah, EDG going back down to the Senna Tahm Kench. It's obviously working out for them in scrims, and they really want to go for it. But no, getting Scout onto Taliyah technically can still go into a jungle position, but generally speaking, it has been mid, and it has had a lot of impact in mid, and it's all about how you're able to utilize that Weaver's Wall to set up your team for success.
Yeah. So, Renata going to be matched here with the Tahm Kench pick, and I like this. It does mean, though, that Ultra Prime junglers are going to be banned away pretty spectacularly here. So I'm curious to see what the plan is for Hacker, because we already talked about, Lee Sin being a big one for him. Wukong more than likely going to be banned away. Then you start to see, is it like Xin Zhao, Volibear, these kind of things that could potentially come through. But for Ultra Prime, I think banning away top laners could also work out, like top laners that are blindable like Gnar and these kind of things from Flandre, or even just respecting Flandre's weird champion pool on the top side, because that's more than likely what they're going to be trying to go towards here on the, well, they have to go towards on their next pick phase.
I will say, as of the moment, not great options for someone to kind of take over. Of course, you think of the Renata with the Berserk on the hostile takeover. You think of hitting like AD carries like Jinx, Aphelios, and things that can just absolutely shred through their own team as such. Not many options available as of right now. Wouldn't be too afraid of the Taliyah auto attacks myself, personally, but we'll see what Ultra Prime end up banning away as we see all the junglers now start to hit the ban phase. Like you said, they're going to be hit something fierce as the Poppy and the Wukong are taken off. Would not be surprised to see EDG ban away the Xin Zhao, and maybe even a top lane ban here from Ultra Prime.
I think we're respecting some of what Flandre can bring to the table in something like, well, I was going to say the Gnar or even a Gangplank could be really good here, because again, I think Gangplank can cause a bit of issues for Ultra Prime, as we already saw it, like messes up Swain because he doesn't get to move around with the ultimate as much. Aphelios doesn't get to catch up to fights as well. Even for Renata as well, it's not ideal because she can just get locked up and picked off very easily. So I feel like a GP pickup for EDG could be really good. Even ban away the Gwen signals to me even more so. They want to try and go for the Gangplank, but always an option here for Ultra Prime to just take the GP themselves and leave counterpick jungle, which honestly I think surprisingly might actually be the better call here.
Yeah, it might just be. I will say the Vladimir is still available for EDG should they want to try and go into it. Has been seen as something that can do very well into the Gangplank, an old school counter, shall we say. So Ultra Prime may be still aware of that, and they're going to try and maybe lock in their preferred jungler. So no, they actually swap over lastminute.com to the Sejuani. I think EDG could feel like they could maybe go for the Gangplank themselves.
Yeah, I think you just take the GP here. You don't even have a terrible matchup. You get to cleanse the ult coming through from the Sejuani as well, although obviously there's a lot of follow-up that could potentially come through. But yeah, I think the GP works out brilliantly here, and Flandre gets to do his own thing once more. You got a ton of global pressure coming through with the Taliyah and that Gangplank, so you don't really get to move very much as Ultra Prime, and Then for your jungle, I mean, kind of your pick of the litter, whatever you want to try and go towards. Oh, are they swapping? Oh, they're going to flex the Taliyah into jungle.
Ooh, there we go. I did mention it very quickly. I said it was likely to go in, but definitely not guaranteed. And looks like they're thinking about it, but never mind. You got excited. It's always the problem with hovers, my dude. It's always the problem.
Right?
No, it's done. You got excited for nothing.
How dare you.
Viego is technically a hover, but he was also locked in. So you got the composition here for EDG. A lot of Shadow Isles there. A lot of mist available to them to make them as slippery as possible. And then the Rek'Sai for Hacker. So they want to go aggressive in this early game.
I mean, they have to now. I mean, they literally, if you do not get these plays happening, it is not going to look pretty. But I'm trying to like... So the thing is that Rek'Sai tends to like to gank the lanes that have the blue buff on their side. So if you're looking at, say, from reds, if you're playing a red side, you want to gank top side because then you can come in and tunnel in behind the top laner, right? Or if you're on blue side, you want to try and gank bot lane because they have the extra little bit of way into the bot lane and you can kind of sneak in behind them. But playing on Ultra Prime here, I would imagine that you'd want to try and play in towards the bottom side of the map because you want to get this Aphelios ahead with Renata or maybe even play towards the mid lane a little bit. But the way the sides of the map are set up aren't spectacular for you. So I'm kind of surprised that we didn't just see something like the Xin Zhao picked up, especially when you're up against like a Gangplank, Taliyah, a whole bunch of these other things. Like having that invulnerability on the Xin Zhao actually works out incredibly well.
Yeah, it really can. And we'll see now if they're able to kind of make that, as you say, that very early aggression from the Rek'Sai work. I'm very curious to see how much respect Flandre gives. Like you mentioned, that blue buff tunneling over the wall, or blue buff side of the map tunneling over the wall to try and get you just behind them as they push in. And honestly, it should be very, very hard for the side of EDG to get any kind of real foothold in this early game. It feels like if Ultra Prime just played to the strength of their champions, they should be the ones coming out on top. Again, you have a Swain, very powerful 1 item to 2 item spike. Sejuani should be able to absorb an awful lot of the pressure this Gangplank gives over and also give up that extra bit of engage. So different ways of working around this fight, but right now it's going to be Ultra Prime bringing the fight to EDG.
At least for EDG, Flandre should have pushing top, Scout had pushing mid, and maybe Jiejie can find some wiggle room there to lean off of both those as Flandre and Zoom will say hello to each other once more.
Absolutely.
And then
camaraderie.
Yeah, it's the calm before the storm. You know?
I love the like I'm gonna walk over you, but like I have my mouse so close to my thing I can not click on you, therefore not break the trust that the top laners have created for themselves.
So both will now go back to lane, but I am curious to see like how EDG try to play for this, because oftentimes when you see the Taliyah, we talk about early roams, being able to use that Weaver's Wall at level 6, but neither side, honestly, of this map really wants to be played for. I feel like Scout is more so about when we get to the later portion of the game, like you're looking at team fights, having the cannon barrage come down, Scout separating the team with the Weaver's Wall then, and having just a lot of control over how Ultra Prime can actually enact things in team fights, which I feel like is where EDG are going to find their success. So for Ultra Prime, I'm not sure if you're going to be in the best of spots when you get to late game fights, just because your team is so reliant on trying to play catch up in a lot of these fights, or trying to get into position to deal the damage you need, and there's just so many ways for EDG to control the space in fights.
We'll wait and see how it all ends up going on. Hacker actually going to start it off on the Wolves. You do have a fairly decent level 1 clear onto AoE camps like this, so Hacker trying to be as inventive as possible with the Rek'Sai. And the Rek'Sai has become more of that... it's niche, but still getting picked up relatively, you know, frequently enough that we're not seeing it as if it's a once in a lifetime, like a Nivea top cough, you know, the shy. But why are we starting to see it kind of come back a little bit more often than we used to see it?
So we're usually seeing it as a Lee Sin counter, which I know a lot of people aren't even particularly fond of in that regard, because the idea is that you're very good in the 1v1, but in a competitive sense, when are you ever 1v1ing the enemy jungler, right? If you have, then something's gone very drastically wrong at some stage. So the pick has kind of seen a bit of fringe play, because there are some people that are just very good at the Rek'Sai and we're still willing to go towards it. But in the Viego matchup, like, I don't really see a world where it's overly useful. The whole reason that it's picked into the Lee Sin matchup is early aggression, but able to interrupt the Sonic Wave, which is very crucial for Lee Sin to be able to use. But Viego doesn't really have anything that, in particular, that you're trying to stop with that knock.
You can see there that Hacker was thinking about maybe making something happen, but they didn't know that it was going to be on the bot side was where the action was going to come in. They're going to try and jump onto the brand new support. Welcome to the LPL. EDG take first blood, and that is in a disastrous start for Ultra Prime.
I mean, the fact that you really wanted to get this bot lane pushed in as Elk and Manu, and you're completely out of position now. I mean, I think Hacker kind of needed to support that bot lane a little bit more. Zoom is going to get pushed in. Cryin is going to get pushed in. So the lane that you actually needed to try and help in securing was Elk and Mianlu, but unfortunately now they've been set behind, and that's going to be a massive advantage for Viper and Meiko.
Yeah, Meownu sadly going to have his first death of the game. I will say props to him. Didn't flash, didn't use Ignite, still kept all summoners available to him. Jiejie, though, he might just come back. He's literally going to come back here because they know they could go for this exact same play. The wave was held, and they've slowed him down again. He's going to try and flash away. Good grab at him gun. And it should actually keep him alive. An extra little bit of CC down on the level 2. Renata still keeps all his summoners, but this is now getting tough for Ultra Prime's bot lane.
Yeah, this is not going to be good for Ultra Prime at all, and especially when you're looking at Ultra Prime's bot being the consistent damage leaders for this squad. Elk being set behind is going to cause major issues as this game starts to go on, especially if you are looking at like 2 items where EDG can start to play very aggressive with their squad. That's where it can be a little bit dangerous for the Ultra Prime side.
Already we're starting to see that advantage in bot side kind of fresh her up. You don't generally see a Tahm Kench go 10 CS above the AD carry at this early stage in the game, but look, here we are. It's in 2022. Anything's possible whatsoever in this game of League of Legends, and now EDG, like you said, just kind of making a nuisance of themselves, and Hacker's going to have to spend a lot of time righting the wrongs of this bot lane. You feel like he's going to have to spend an awful lot of resources just making sure that they're actually just able to be functional in these team fights at the later stages of the game.
But we have to see Hacker do something in general. Like, this is actually where Hacker, you are on a Rek'Sai. You cannot just sit back and farm. You are going to completely fall out of pace here in the game state. And already you're seeing that. Doesn't get to play towards top side. Isn't covering his bot lane correctly. And now he is down on the bottom end of things here. So we'll move over towards the dragon with a slow push and pop. But, I mean, again, you need kills. You need snowball. This is how Rek'Sai plays. And she just isn't cutting it right.
You always ask, Hacker or slacker? Right now he's not looking like Hacker. Definitely looking like a little bit of a slacker. But Jiejie gonna know that the dragon is being taken. Nothing he can really do about that one there. Cryin had push in the mid lane, so not really got the support of his team. As we can see, Zoom now with access to his Glacial Prison might have a little bit of kill pressure onto the Gangplank, but like you said earlier, having that orange to make everything K is going to make it so much more difficult. We can see them trying to go for a play in this bot side, but not really getting anything to stick. Still a Senna, still a Tahm Kench, plenty of mobility, still plenty of durability. And yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see what Ultra Prime can do, because right now, sitting here waiting for something to happen isn't going to be able to cut it for you.
And as for EDG, they're actually getting the things that they need, right? Like, you're farming up totally fine. You're getting Scout to 6. He's just hit it now. Weaver's Wall is available. Flandre getting time to scale up, and they're maybe going to get Elk.
Oh, Elk did have to cleanse. There's the kind of barrage. He's going to have to flash as well, and that's both summoners now down. EDG are doubling down on this bot lane. You love to see it as well, because we talk about EDG and we say like what their issues is, but one of their shining lights honestly is always going to be Viper. Viper is an incredible carry, and honestly having this bot lane be so confident with going with this combination of Senna and Tahm Kench makes it so much more bearable to see that yes, they are willing to put time and resources in it.
It's a fantastic read from Jiejie as well, because Jiejie's going, look, I am going to suffer in this matchup. Realistically, he's massively behind when it comes to CS. Hacker even trying to steal away the blue here, but he knows that as long as Elk is not relevant in this game, Ultra Prime are not relevant in this game, and just a great understanding to go for that, and even gets the steal away as well. So just says thank you very much, Hacker, for the leash. They get the hell out of my jungle.
Oh, and there's a flash there from Meownu, and this is getting from bad to worse in this bot side, and you can see the power that this Tahm Kench Senna has. If you get slowed up by a tongue lash and all of a sudden the root lands, they get the abyssal dive coming up from underneath you. There's so little you can do to get away from it without your summoners, especially as something like a Renata or an Aphelios. There's not really much counterplay if you don't have your summoners.
This is disaster street for the bot side of Ultra Prime. You're also going to start to get turret plates now becoming an issue as well, because usually Viper and Meiko shouldn't be able to hit this tower in a double range situation, but Jiejie wanted to make a play top here.
Yeah, he's going to try and slow down Zoom, who does have his Arctic Assault, but they do flash in, get the slow down Heartbreaker in, and that's going to be a kill. EDG are starting to burn through the gears right now. Ultra Prime, they're being left in the dust.
And this is looking like an EDG of old. Jiejie looking very confident in this matchup, now starting to get control over the game, getting bot lane massively ahead, top now ahead, and Scout, he's perfectly fine. Look, he is falling a little bit behind in terms of CS, but he's not actually just, you know, completely pushed out of the game. He's still going to be very relevant with how these Weaver's walls are going to be able to churn out.
And again, this is again what you said, like just good moves from EDG, and it's how they played, how they won the World Championship in 2021. This is why we had such great moments from this team, is that these players can hit these highs and where they're just putting constant pressure on you. If you're not going toe-to-toe with them, you will end up falling down. Scout now going to get a little bit of pressure here into the mid lane. The never move will lands. I feel like you should have probably flashed that a little bit earlier. He's just going to accept his fate, and he ends up going down. The Dawning Shadow not quite there, and just as I was praising them, EDG make a little bit of an unforced error.
Yeah, Scout just a little bit of a whoopsie there. Flandre does not get to steal away the Scuttle Crab, but will spot the hacker has started up this Rift Herald, so may start calling for reinforcements up towards this top side, but with Scout dead, maybe they're just going to go for some sort of play on the bot side instead.
Well, Jiejie knows that both the Cryin mid laner and of course the Ultra Prime bot laner here, but maybe they're going to get caught out a little bit. They're trying to 3v3 this one here. Not a lot of mana onto Cryin, and EDG think the better of it though, because they're saying, look, Viper's not got a lot to go here, and that means that the Rift Herald does go over without any real response coming out from EDG.
Because you get help with the blue for Cryin though, Elk and Miannu end up losing their bot lane turret plate. Jiejie is still in the vicinity now. We'll just know that he's been spotted on that ward. I thought maybe it wasn't quite spotted.
No, it wasn't a ward. It wasn't a ward. It was a turret from the Aphelios. So they're going to go in with the cannon barrage. They get the bailout coming out, but it's not going to be enough. And they're going to be able to take out 2 kills. There's going to be the Devour to try and keep Jiejie alive. Nicely done there. And Jiejie 2-0-2, full 100% kill participation.
Really well done by EDG. They lose out a little bit on the mid play, and it does lead towards the Rifter going to Hacker, but able to bounce back on that bot side play. Now Flandre may get bounced around a little bit here as well.
Yeah, we're going to see them now maybe look to try and get on top of this Gangplank. He's got himself an orange, but orange will only do so much. Zoom will be able to tank up just enough of the turret. They should be able to get this full for themselves as well. So nicely responded to by Ultra Prime, but like we said, they can't be reactive. They need to be the ones making the plays, and yes, they are getting them, but not in response to EDG. Is just not good enough.
And again, it kind of feels like a little bit of a, I have to do something here as Ultra Prime, because top lane is not where you want to put those resources, but great gank here. Meiko tanks up the tower really, really well, pops the grey health here to take one more terror shot, and then Jiejie immediately is the one that actually tanks it up, uses the ult to get over towards Meiko so he can devour. So just really well orchestrated by EDG, but I do want to go back to the point of Ultra Prime have now got Zoom and Hacker ahead. Who are the people that are going to carry? Definitely not Zoom, definitely not Hacker. So EDG still in a great spot here. Divine Sunder already finished for Jiejie as well. Second Dragon going to Ultra Prime is going to be quite nice though, I must say. At least they're starting to continue their dominance over the neutral objectives, but they really need to turn this into more, especially around this bottom lane, so Elk isn't completely out of this game.
Yeah, I think that you look at the bot lane item differences right now, and it's an Umbral Glaive versus nearly a Gale Force, and alongside the Frostfire Gauntlet as well for Meiko. So you're already dealing with first item spikes coming out here for EDG, and again, Viper on this Senna. Senna is one of those champions that, yes, can scale into a monster, but does have that mid-game lull. We will see maybe a move here, but that route should stop any real kind of movement here. Although Hacker's still in the vicinity, and he's going to try and find something else. There is a Devour available should they want to try and go for this. The drag back there with the handshake as Meiko flashes away. Does get caught out there by the Void Rush, and they're trying to turn this one around. Dawning Shadow, bailout is only going to delay you, and that is a great turnaround. The power of this bot lane is just too much.
Disaster for Hacker. He finally tries to make a player on the bottom side, and it goes completely astray. And Jiejie trying to move in to get away some camps for himself, but with Zoom poking his head in, he decides to back away. May look for a bit of stuff on here, Cryin.
If only the seismic shove was available. We did actually see Scout use that onto some minions, so if they had that available, maybe Cryin would have been in some lethal range. But now with the rift changing towards that Infernal Rift, this is actually a major issue for Ultra Prime, because the advantage I would say that you have as the Rek'Sai over the Viego is that, like you mentioned, the tunnels get you around all these awkward walls, get you cool gank paths and such, but with the walls basically being torn down, it doesn't make that big of a difference anymore.
I mean, unfortunately, the jungle matchup is just completely in favor of Jiejie now. Not even just from the rift settings or even just the general matchup between Rek'Sai and Viego, but Jiejie's huge. Like, already got the Divine Sunder working up toward the Dead Man's Plate. It means the hacker is not going to be able to have the damage to take down Jiejie nice and simply. And then just the mobility that Jiejie has as well means it's a little bit more typical for hacker to try and follow up. So for Ultra Prime, I need to see them try and find creative ways to get Zoom out of this top side. He's clearly able to push in the wave. I want to see him moving in towards the mid lane, looking for invades on top side with hacker, looking to try and find some way to push this game back in favor of Ultra Prime, because we're now sitting 5-2 in the scoreline, but a 2,000 gold lead still for EDG. Next Dragon's up in 2.5 minutes, and you're already seeing first items kind of complete across the board for EDG, where they should now be in a relatively okay spot if they can find the right engages to take these fights.
We've already got, like you said, first items across the board for EDG. I think the big one there is the Umbral Blade. Talk about so powerful. If you're able to get so early, it stacks up very nicely. As I can talk about that in a second, as Jiejie going to try and jump onto Meownu. He's got a little bit of mobility in him. The flash has been used. There's the cannon barrage, the Weaver's Wall. And that's going to be the first hostile takeover we'll see this game. And it sadly doesn't really do a lot. This is not been the debut that Meownu has really probably dreamed of in his career, but sadly it's the one he's been given.
And now EDG should be able to set up control over the river, look towards Rift Herald, which is now just about to spawn in less than a minute's time, and also down towards the Dragon, which is in a minute and a half. So honestly, you can take both objectives if EDG start up this Rift Herald immediately on spawn, reset, and then look for the Dragon.
Yeah, might look to do just that. If we can see Jiejie now resetting, got himself some magical footwear and going to pick up a couple of half items to make him as strong as possible before the next fight. But EDG already taking your advice, Dagda, and moving themselves towards this top half of the map. As we have a look at the replay here, and again, it's just Meownu, no vision, just no way of knowing where anyone is, and then just sadly gets caught.
And the follow-up from Scout here with the Weaver's Wall as well. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to get out of here as Meownu. But, I mean, I suppose not being in that position in the first place probably was the best answer. So,
yeah.
Unfortunately, now Ultra Prime again falling further and further behind. And Ultra Prime, going to see if they can make something happen around this Rift Herald. But I don't know if maybe without the kind of barrage for Flandre, they can take the fight. And it looks like EDG are just going to look for the second Dragon instead of actually trying to contest on towards the Rift Herald.
Yeah, get that Dragon off of Ultra Prime's counter and make sure they don't go for it. That being said, though, you're losing a lot of CS up on top side. You have to resist, and bot side as well. You have to commit a lot of resources here on the side of Ultra Prime just to make sure you picked up the second Shelly. So definitely going to be paying it for a little bit of it. Cryin does get rooted up, but he should just be fine. That's going to be Rift Herald picked up now by Hacker. But again, how you use it. Second Rift Herald not as impactful as the first because you don't have the plates. It will be nice if you can use it to crack open mid lane, but mid lane's still pretty damn healthy, so it's not exactly an easy feat to do, and they're going to try and go for it because they want to try and get pressure before this Dragon.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to kind of enable them, though. Like, ooh, Viper getting caught might, though.
Got the never move down. Zoom is now here. It's going to be a full 5v5. Shelly is not going to get her charge off. She's not going to get to do her favorite thing in the world, and that makes me sad. And that's just going to be, sadly, a Shelly not getting to do her job. And now EDG, after dealing with that threat, can now start to move towards this mid lane. And you can see now just how hard it is just to keep the vision up because you've got the Umbral Glaive, and now the Weaver's Wall not quite able to be used to separate anyone out from Ultra Prime, but is another tool no longer available.
Yeah, doesn't get the flash out of Cryin, so that's going to be pretty good at that down. Viper very low on mana as well, which does need to be said.
Well, they do land the ultimate there, and there's going to be the Renata ult as well, but doesn't really do a lot. The Cannon Barrage not really onto anybody either. They're going to get Flandre to the pit, but the Dragon is secured. It's actually going to be Elk to pick that one up Cryin goes in, but he's already been exhausted. The Never Move comes out, gets flicked back, forced to flash away. Moonlight Vigil straight between the posts, and that's going to be now a Dawning Shadow across 4. Now EDG can start to feel more confident as they're starting to pick up kills. Scout is mowing them down with these rocks. He's nearly quite able to catch out Elk. Will have to back away before the last second. We can see Jiejie with the Heartbreaker thinking about going for it, but at the end of it all, they still lose the Dragon. They only gain 2 kills.
I mean, 3 dragons for Ultra Prime, pretty important here if they want to try and find a way back into the game. Now, they are just 1 steal away from Soul, which is huge for this team, but 3-0-3 now for Viper, 2-0-4 for Jiejie. They will lose mid tower as well off the back of this, but we're just going to catch on the replay here. Because of the takeover coming through, Jiejie not able to get into the pick quite in time. So the Dragon does go with the way of Ultra Prime, but here Cryin just needs to back away. You got what you came for, but trying to take the fight too much. That Infernal map, as you talked about earlier, coming back to bite them as well. A Scout able to get into position. Great Dawning Shadow from Viper to set things up here as well. And just not enough time before Ultra Prime get back to the tower, so EDG can continue the chase down.
That Dragon's very significant. 3.5 minutes. We will have another fight. If you can get up to an Imperial Mandate combo with the Rylai's Crystal Scepter, that's a big power spike here for Ultra Prime. We'll see a movement here from the Gangplank as Hacker thought about it. Did actually use the Predator's Claw and end up getting the flash out of Flandre, so not bad from him. But yeah, honestly, I think the big thing for Ultra Prime is they have a lease on this game. They have a win condition, and it is these Dragons because they are still very powerful in this early to mid game. They just need to make sure they stick the landing. As Flandre, well, he's not going to be sticking any landing as he's going to end up getting taken out. Gets killed off there as Meiko now trying to see if he can jump onto Hacker. Nice tongue lash there, picks him up. And this is what I'm talking about. You commit so much and you still trade 1 for 1. That's not exactly ideal.
Viper now just trying to contest Zoom on the red. Yeah, I mean, 1 for 1, and you've still got a ton of late game scaling to come through, as Ultra Prime should be able to steal away the red buff here, but Kraken Slayer going to be coming through for Viper, and once more we're seeing the old EDG adage of, hey, look, Viper, can you please carry us late game coming through, because this guy's been dealing like over 30% of the team's damage. Like, he's 3rd in the league for damage percent in AD carries, and I'm not surprised that once more he's kind of taken the step up to be at the forefront here. Because when you look towards the Kraken Slayer, going to be able to take down Zoom, going to be able to do a ton of damage. Just an auto Q auto deals so much burst. It's going to be on Viper to see if he can try and pick off some of these lower health targets or be the person that deals with Zoom in these fights.
All right, now we're going to be coming in 2 minutes till Dragon spawns. We got plenty of time to set up the next few minutes, but as Ultra Prime, it's obvious. You want that Infernal Soul. How do you get that Infernal Soul? I'm looking at a 3-0-3 Senna and a 2-0-4 Tahm Kench. We're going to be sitting on 2 items as well. So what's the best way? What's the most effective track to victory here for Ultra Prime?
Well, look, you can't beg because EDG won't listen. You can't really borrow a dragon either. I feel like that doesn't really work out particularly well. So your only option is to steal. Realistically, you got to try and hope here that Hacker can get into a position where he can actually hop over the wall, try and look for a smite steal, and maybe then you can be in a good spot. I feel like if you don't get that steal off, though, the ensuing fight is just going to be so tough. The Gale Force only completed on Elk. He's a long way from being relevant in this game. Flandre is going for a big AoE build with the Triforce and the Ravenous Hydra build as well. He'll hurt like a truck if you get hit by him. And even then, you're just looking at the Dead Man's Plate already completed for Jiejie. He's going to be very strong and very capable of like diving the back line, slowing up people, and then getting these resets. So overall, I think you got to rely on Hacker to find some miracle play to get in here. Even opting in for the Edge of Night, I think is pretty good because that gives him the opportunity to get into the pit without people trying to stop him.
I mean, yeah, the Edge of Night second really does tell you the whole story of this. It's like, look, he has to go in on this next play. 40 seconds until the Dragon spawns. EDG are already in position. There is very little vision. There is one ward just to the bottom left, very far away for Zoom to really TP into. Should you want to go for a flank? And now Hacker is already being pressured away from this objective. And honestly, like you said, I don't even think you can just let this one go. I feel like if you let this one go, you're going to be in a bad situation, but they're already being forced away. The Weaver's Wall comes out, as is the Cannon Barrage. It's a lot of utility used here by EDG, and the Dragon hasn't spawned just yet.
I mean, they're forcing Ultra Prime away, though. Flash from Mianu, flash from Cryin as well. Going to be pretty good. You don't have a huge amount of engage left. You are going to be relying on Meiko to try and make that happen, but still playing off the wings here.
Dragon's already started. The Dragon's already gone. They don't know that they can't really. Actually, I think they do know because they're not even going anywhere near it. They're going to try and maybe take up a mid tier 1, but you feel like the win condition is slowly falling away here. Meiko going to tank up a hell of a lot. As Zoom just tries to play everybody away. They do trade it off in the end, and now Scout's in a position to start throwing rocks. Not exactly ideal to be doing with kids, but in this game of League of Legends, it's totally fine. Now we can see them now being corralled around this blue side of the jungle of EDG. You can see Elk goes in with the ultimate, but doesn't quite do the damage he wants it to do. Viper low on mana, but Scout's still putting out some decent DPS. They're still trying to push them away from this Baron pit. Nobody's going down, and I think at the end of it all, Ultra Prime should be able to get themselves out of dodge.
EDG will have free reign on mid lane though, but it looks like Viper is going to reset instead. So you can see the pings on Ultra Prime pinging that the Senna is on recall. So maybe looking to see if they can follow up if EDG overextend, but not going to be the case. Dragon, first one for EDG. Now we get the Baron dance about to begin.
Baron dance can come in now. It's with Ultra Prime waiting for another 4 minutes, about 4,000 or 4,500 gold down. Elk waiting to get up to his Lord Dominic's regards via his second item. You now have the Krakens there, like you mentioned, for Viper, so he's going to be a significant carry. You can't just forget about him now. You have to go in onto these fights with him because he is going to be so good at putting out some serious DPS. Zoom is moving around here as Ultra Prime. I think they're feeling like they know the clock is ticking and they need to find a fight soon.
But EDG aren't really giving them that opportunity. You've got Meiko who can disengage, Scout who's got the Weaver's Wall still there, Flandre as well. We talked about how useful this kind of barrage can be. And if you ever like find yourself with Cryin overextending the side lane, EDG can try and collapse very quickly using the solo lane ultimates. So we'll have to see as EDG, again, we talked about trying to start the Baron dance. They're going to look to establish vision here. Scout hiding just outside of Ultra Prime's knowledge, so he can try and get into a position if Ultra Prime ever try and contest.
Yeah, the Baron dance, EDG now setting their practice in, making sure they don't look like a fool out there on the dance floor. They are still doing some pretty decent work here as Jiejie maybe just trying to just delay Zoom. And there's a 2-level difference. The Sejuani should be totally fine. Actually, they're fully committing to this one right now. I think Jiejie forgot about the Sejuani passive. I'm going to be real with you. Because I think he thought the slow was going to be there and then just kind of went, oh, she's not actually stopping.
Yeah, I think that might have been the case. I think he also thought Meiko might have been a bit closer, but wasn't quite the case. They are starting up this Baron. Ultra Prime are very aware of this, though.
Yeah, they have a pink ward in the backside of the pit. You can see Zoom now moving over. I think EDG getting a little bit restless right now. They are still very much in position. As Cryin is going to be kind of focused out right now. He has no flash from the previous engage. And now he's in a lot of world of hurt. He's going to go into the Zhonya's after the broken stopwatch and give himself a broken heart. Now Jiejie can take over his bodily form and move himself into a position. But TP coming in here from the side of Ultra Pride Zoom. He's got himself a third item. Can he make anything work? He's a massive wall of stats, but those stats aren't relevant right now.
Especially if you don't have the damage behind him. With the mid lane missing, EDG going to start up the Baron. Hacker is here though, so I mean this is still going to be a 50-50. I think you're looking for barrows from Flandre to try and change this.
Is he hacker or slacker? Here we go. They're going to try and maybe make this a 50-50. They're going to go in on top of it. The Dawning Shadow comes out. It's secured by EDG. Great Moonlight Vigil. But it's not going to mean nothing at the end of it. EDG get themselves the Baron. They get themselves out. And Hacker just a little bit too late on that trigger.
Yeah, I mean, it was always going to be a risky one, but Hacker, unfortunately, not able to quite get the steal. I was waiting for Menu, honestly, to use that ultimate a little bit sooner while EDG are all in the pit. Just open up a little bit of wiggle room for Hacker, but not going to be the case. Instead, now Ultra Prime on the bad side of town. Dragon in a minute's time. EDG on reset with Baron. I just don't know how Ultra Prime can try and contest this again. Maybe we do get Hacker to try and go for take 2 on the steal, but Cryin.
Yeah, Cryin, he's probably going to have to flash here now in a second if he's not careful, but they actually cannot get the continuing of the Senna push there, so not quite able to take him out. But you can see already that Viper is just doing so much on this Senna pick. 4-0 and 3 really is becoming the carry, like you talked about, that you have to just absolutely fear in this late game. Someone who can take out the Sejuani. You can see again, there's no real vision here available for Ultra Prime, but Hacker's trying to put himself in a backwards position to try and maybe get behind the pit, but Zoom, he's going to be zooming to the gray screen, and now Hacker shows himself off and kind of just goes, oh, well, I guess my plan's up. I can't really go for the steal.
EDG now going to move to the bot side to push that one out. That's going to fall to Scout, as he's the one that can quickest get to the rest of the team, if he so needs with the ultimate. But just a nice pick there for EDG right before the dragon comes up. And it did look like Hacker was just trying to get into a spot to see if he could maybe make a steal, but with Zoom being caught, he doesn't even attempt it. And now 2 dragons for for EDG. Ultra Prime still need another 5 minutes until they can maybe hope for a steal, but the late game is coming too quick with EDG, and at this stage, Ultra Prime, unfortunately, I just don't see a world where you're able to come back.
You have 3 items now for the Gangplank, nearly 3 items for your Senna and your Taliyah. I imagine they'll be picking them up very, very shortly. You're not even close to a 3rd item here for Elk, where he really has any kind of power. There's the Void Staff being picked up as a Scout. Tries to just keep this power with the Baron play going for themselves. They will get a Moonlight Vigil out. Flandre needs to be careful, but he's still a Gangplank, so he'll still be K. And they're just getting all of the objectives they could have won. They know that Zoom's on a flank. Zoom knows he's on a flank, or has he's been caught out. They're going to try and fully commit here onto Meiko. There's a Weaver's Wall to try and stop any kind of retreat. There's a good ultimate there from the Renata, but look at them. They're like fish in a barrel, just throwing rocks at their faces. It's brutal, but it's just so damn effective. Scout flashes forward, doesn't land any more CC down, but it's double kill coming in here for Viper, and that's just going to be EDG taking the 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, mid-wave is already set up for them. Baron buff is only there for another short seconds, but with both solo laners down for 30, maybe EDG can go for it, but they're kind of low. Maybe bot tower is just a better option.
I mean, they've got themselves the TP. They're going to fully commit to it. It's going to be Gangplank coming back on top of this one here. Like you said, they don't have the Baron buff just yet. They're kind of relying on Viper to put out this damage, so they might get both, to be perfectly honest, but they turn themselves back towards that bot side, get themselves another inhibitor. And with only a couple more seconds till the mid and top laners respawn, Ultra Prime are going to be living to fight another day, but just about.
A bit greedy to try and go for the end. Your health bars were too low. No one could really try and set up the play, so EDG instead fall back over towards the inhibitor, but 2 inhibitors down, 1 remains. Flandre can try and push in these super minion waves, and even having the Taliyah there as well to help out in that regard makes it very difficult for Ultra Prime. But as you talked about, like, the Weaver's Wall coming in just to kind of corral everyone Ultra Prime into one spot. Elk has to flash over the wall. And even though you don't have that combo of the Cannon Barrage like lined up on top of Ultra Prime, just the inability to pipe backwards. When Flandre has big barrels, you've got Meiko who can hop in on top of you. Jiejie as well, hitting multiple members with the ultimate. Ultra Prime just crumble in front of them.
Yeah, and it's 10,000 gold lead now. Ultra Prime not really in a position to try and contest anything, and this is the problem. You go for a composition that needs to get going early. With this Rek'Sai, it just didn't really come to fruition. And 603 now onto Viper. He's got himself a rapid fire cannon. I just don't see how you're able to kind of walk forward now, to be perfectly honest. The infinite range of this Senna is just absolutely disgusting. And honestly, I'm starting to see the logic within EDG's setup of like the versatility that they are able to get with this Senna pick, saying, look, it can be just a traditional AD carry, it can be a supportive one as well. There are definitely different ways you can play this and work out for your team. And now, Zoom running away as fast as the little legs will carry him, as he just has to watch the rest of his base kind of crumble and fall.
I mean, as we said, like, you got Taliyah pushing mid. Flandre, I actually didn't expect to stay with the team, but I suppose when you got that much poke underneath towers and Ultra Prime's wave clear isn't particularly strong, it does make a lot of sense. But Taliyah may need to come up towards this top side soon, so Zoom's ultimate whiffing a lot there.
Well, it did hit, but Flandre has an orange, so that's, you know, Glacial Prison versus orange. You always pick the orange. That's just how this works, you know.
Yeah,
it's always going to win.
An entire glacier coming at your face, and you're like hiding behind the orange.
Eat your vegetables and you'll be fine. Cannon Barrage comes out just to add insult to injury here from Cryin, who just cannot get himself anywhere near anyone of priority. That's going to be the 3rd inhibitor falling. EDG just completely owning this map right now. There's the hostile takeover going to land on the Flandre, but again, another orange on your K. Doesn't matter if it's toxic gas or a massive glacier. You're just going to have a bit of fruit. You'll be totally fine. They will not get the inhibitor itself because there was some decent damage coming out from Elk, who's almost got himself up to an Infinity Edge.
The game will continue here for EDG. I'm not going to lie, I actually thought we'd kind of get out of this one. But they are a little bit of a slower team in the LPL with a 31.5 minute average game time. So not exactly the quickest team on the Rift, but I mean, this is basically it. Like, 3 items now completed for the Senna. EDG sitting posted up in front of the Baron, trying to decide if they really want to go for it, and they will. But with every single tower down, this Baron essentially is just going to be the end of the game for them. Maybe, though, Ultra Prime, with the Baron attention here from EDG, could try and get over towards the Dragon. If they burst it, so could be pretty nice for them.
I mean, it could be nice. You just got 3 items, but the Weaver's Walls coming in. You're going to devour Hacker and try and burn down Meiko. Meiko is just too damn tanky now. He's 3 items. Flick back onto Zoom. You've never seen a boar fly. Well, that's exactly what it is. And now Meiko saying, all right, you bullied me for too long. I'm going to make the rules now. Flashes forward, lands a tongue lash, forcing everyone else away. And you can see that I like the idea from Ultra Prime. They had to go for something. They had to do anything to help them out in this game. And they had to try and flip it at that one particular matchup. But Viper, what is this damage from this Senna? This is technically a fasting Senna, and he's just running people down. Look at these auto attack damages. But in 33.5 minutes, EDG take a 2-0. Wow. That's why Senna is pretty highly prized by EDG.
Yeah, Kraken Slayer, Rapid Fire, Senna, pretty damn strong, as it turns out. But yeah, Viper having a great performance. EDG as a whole having a fantastic performance. And again, like, this composition at least had a bit more of a bridge into the later portion of the game, being able to use Scout, having this kind of combo between the ability to control fights. And as we said, like, this was never going to be an easy one for Ultra Prime, especially after they started to fall behind on bot side of the early stages, because Elk was kind of your main source of damage. You had great ways to control the fight and dissuade a lot of the engage coming through from Ultra Prime. And look, I gotta call it, we got slacker. You did nothing in these early stages on the Rek'Sai, and it meant that EDG just got to scale to the later portion of the game.
Yeah, it feels bad. We don't obviously like to kind of, you know, bring people down, especially after a loss, but it just felt like you pick the Rek'Sai, you have to make early plays. It's like a Jarvan as well. You just have to be making ganks. You have to be trying your absolute very best. And yes, it may not be the highest percentage play in the world, but it's just going to, if you make it, it's far more likely that you'll be able to do something than if you don't. So sadly, for the side of Ultra Prime, they do fall down again. They're now sitting on 2-6 at the halfway point. So already 8 series down with 8 left to go. They've only picked themselves up 2 more wins. And it's a little bit of an unfortunate one. I think a lot of people had, especially myself and Lyric, had much higher hopes for this roster. And it's just not really equaling them right now.
And it's a shame, because you can see, like, Cryin is actually having a pretty good split for himself and trying to do his damnedest, but it's not quite working out. I thought Elk and ShiauC had started to work pretty well together as well, but it's just unfortunate that as the way this game goes, that they just couldn't quite get it together. And you can see there, Elk set behind early means they can't equal the damage from Viper. Cryin as well doing his damnedest from the mid, but the difference maker being Flandre and Jiejie having such large advantages. Ultra Prime just couldn't quite keep up. And again, it feels like some of these issues are coming through from Ultra Prime's draft. Like, I didn't like the Sejuani being picked up. I really didn't like the last pick of the Rek'Sai. It just didn't really work out altogether. And even Meiko as well. I mean, this is supposed to be their prospect to replace ShiauC. Had a really poor game.
Yeah, it just felt like little small issues coming out from Meiko. And again, look, we don't want to put him too down in the dumps as it was his first game of his LPL career, but definitely did not look exceptional on the pick. And yeah, we can see it there, just kind of everything coming from Jiejie, and this is kind of a good callback to what we were talking about, you know, a little bit earlier on today with EDG. When EDG are able to get themselves in winning lanes, winning advantages, and bringing themselves up to bigger and better positions, it is off of the back of their solo laners and their jungler just able to get those small little advantages, their quick plays, the constantly on your feet moments. And it does look like they're slowly getting there, but I wouldn't put a lot of stock into this win,